Absolutely. To make your brand more sellable and valuable, there are kind of probably, I think I've got 7 key topics that I think people should focus on. One is timing. Your business needs to be growing, but not maxed out, because a buyer wants to see a growth trend, but they also want to have some extra growth left for them to enjoy, right? So timing, growing, but not maxed out. Your business needs to be stable. And by stable, I mean that it's selling in a favorable niche. You're not doing any black hat strategies, and your business is transferable. And transferability takes me nicely into documentation. But let me just mention what I mean by transferability for a second. When an organization buys an e-commerce business, usually they're essentially picking up the brand and dropping it into their own existing setup. And if your brand is not very transferable, it's more difficult for them to do it, which makes it less of an attractive proposition. So it's less sellable and less valuable. And there's a really good way to ask yourself if your business is transferable. Ask yourself, if you fall over and break both your legs today and end up in hospital for several weeks, will your business run itself without you for a little while? If the answer is yes, it's quite transferable. If the answer is no, it's not very transferable. And that's okay, but you got some work to do to make it more transferable. Which takes us to documentation. Documentation, the next topic. You want to be documenting everything in your business, all your systems and processes and procedures, so that when you hand over your brand or sell your brand, it can easily be absorbed into the existing setup of the other business. So it's more transferable that way. But you also want to have great documentation of all your financials, your financial documentation, your accountancy reports, your tax documents, your company formation documents, essentially anything legal. Intellectual property is another one. And speaking of intellectual property, that takes us to another topic that makes it sellable and valuable, which is defensibility. So nobody wants to buy a business which can just be outcompeted immediately. They want to buy something defensible, right? So it needs to have a legitimate brand identity. And that brings us to brand, of course. And that brand identity needs to be protected by intellectual property in form of trademarks and patents. And they want to be not just in the countries in which you're selling, but also the countries in which you're manufacturing. A business that buys your brand or business wants to make sure that they're decreasing their exposure to risk.
Hey, it's Leonard here. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe to Seller App's main YouTube channel, where we upload all things Amazon and some how-to guides that will make sure that you're winning on Amazon. You will not get this anywhere else. Until the next time, happy selling.